Okay, so what you have here is a review over all the different types of methods that we've used to solve quadratics: factoring, square root, graphing, complete the square, and quadratic formula. Okay, and so what we've done is, what you have is you have a quadratic that you have to determine which ways you can solve it. Now, every single problem you're going to graph and label the x-intercepts for the solutions. You're also going to solve with the quadratic formula because it says you can always solve. So you're going to solve every single one with the quadratic formula, which you've been doing for the past couple of days. So I'm going to go over this real quick just to show you what's expected on each one. So this one, m squared minus 2m minus 8, you need to solve it by factoring. So whether you can or can't, you're going to circle one of those. But first you have to look at a times c. That's a is 1, c is negative 8, so that's negative 8. b is negative 2. So your factors of 8 are 1, 8, 2, and 4. So you can get negative 2 from 2 and 4. So you can factor this. So you circle can, and we're going to solve. So to get negative 2, you have 2 minus 4 equals negative 2. Now we have our box. A term goes here, C term goes here. So m squared, negative 8, and then your two factors, positive 2, negative 4. So positive 2m, negative 4m, and now you come up with your factors on the left and the top. So this would be m times m gives you m squared, m times negative 4 gives you negative 4m, m times positive 2 gives you positive 2m. So your two factors are m plus 2 and m minus 4. Okay, now remember, this is always equal to 0 because we're solving for our x-intercepts. Our solutions are zeros. So you have to set each one equal to 0. So m plus 2 equals 0. Solve. M equals negative 2. So there's one solution. Then you have m minus 4 equals 0. Solve that. M equals 4. And there's your other solution. So that's what's expected here. Okay. Now you would look, can you solve it by taking the square root? Well, here, to take square root, you would have to have m squared by itself, but then you have another m already. So you cannot solve this by taking the square root. Now, explain why you can't. So you would say that circle can't because you can't solve it with the square root. And you would explain that there is a m squared and a m term. So that's why you can't solve it by taking the square root. Okay, now down here, complete the square. Remember, you can only complete the square if a equals 1. Well, here a equals 1. So you can complete the square. I'm going to copy the quadratic down here so we don't have to keep going back and forth. So remember, if you complete the square, we start with the box. There's m squared, negative 8, and now your b term is negative 2. You take half of negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 equals negative 1. So you have negative 1m and negative 1m. Now you work on this box like you're factoring. Here's a m and an m. That's negative 1. This becomes negative 1. So you have m minus 1 times m minus 1, which is m minus 1 squared. Now to complete the square, you take your negative 8 here, write it down, then you take this number that you got right here. Negative 1 squared equals 1. This number comes right here, you subtract it. So that ends up being m minus 1 squared. These two like terms you combine to be minus 9. That equals 0. Now you can solve this the rest of the way by taking the square root of it. Plus 9 m minus 1 squared equals 9. So if I come up here, now I take the square root of both sides. Remember, square root of 9, square roots have two answers, positive and negative, so that's positive and negative 3. Square root of this is m minus 1. It cancels out the square root and the squared, gets rid of your parentheses. Now you add 1 to both sides to get your m by itself. So you have m equals positive 1 plus minus 3. So m equals 1 plus 3, excuse me, and m equals 1 minus 3. So down here, your two answers, 1 plus 3 is 4, so m equals 4. 1 minus 3 is negative 2, and negative 2. Okay, now, I'm not going to go over the quadratic formula. You've been doing that. You remember how to do that. Just remember your formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all that over 2a. Now, what I would suggest for the graphing is that you graph this on your calculator. Okay? Now, you go to y equals, type it in, then go to your table. Second graph to get your table. And then find your vertex. You see your vertex right here, 1, negative 9. That's where your y's start repeating around it. So 1, negative 9 is your vertex. So 1, negative 9. Then you have 0, negative 8. 2, negative 8. Now make sure that you have your points on your solutions, on your x-intercepts. So where the y is 0, 4, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. And then you go find the other one, negative 2, 0. Negative 2, 0. Draw your parabola. Doesn't have to be perfect. As long as the points are good, you're good. So then here, 4, 0. This, write your coordinates. This point, negative 2, 0. And there you go. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what, we will go ahead and do this one. So we'll plug in B. Remember, A equals 1. Okay, from here, where we copied it down here, B is negative 2, C is negative 8. So we plug that in our formula. X equals negative, always use parentheses when you substitute. So negative B, so negative, then negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 2 in parentheses squared minus 4 times A is 1, C is negative 8, all that over 2 times A, which is 1. Now we simplify that. Negative, -2 makes it +2, plus or minus. Now you work out this whole inside part. Don't take square root yet, just work out the inside part. So you just plug it in. Remember, use parentheses. -2 squared minus 4 times 1 times -8 gives you 36. So square root of 36. Remember, we're just working the inside part, so don't take square root yet. And then 2 times 1 is 2. And now you solve. You work this out. One first way with the addition, so 2 plus square root of 36 is 6. And we're using the positive 6. That's why it's plus divided by 2. That's 8 over 2, which is 4. Don't forget your x equals. So there's one answer, or one solution. Then here, you do it with the negative 6, that is your square root of 36. That equals -4 over 2, which is -2. So x equals -2, and you're done. Okay? So for this, every single one of these, when you're done, they should all have the same answers. Okay? Now this one, we factored, we got -2 and 4. Square root we couldn't do, but we wrote why we couldn't do it. We graphed it. Our x-intercepts are -2, 0, and 4, 0. There's our -2 and 4. By completing the square, well, we forgot to circle this. You can complete the square because a is equal to 1. So if you have one that a is not equal to 1, you would circle can't, and you would write that. So we solved here. We got 4 and -2. We solved with quadratic formula. We got 4 and -2. So once you do it, all of your answers should be the same. Okay, and that's it.